Our next award recipient is Irving M. Blank, receiving the Humanitarian Award. Irv grew up in Danville, graduating in 1961 from a segregated school. At that time, he notes that the atmosphere around him accepted racism and prejudice. The public library in Danville was closed rather than desegregate, and when they did reopen, it was without tables and chairs for patrons to sit. Irv went on to Virginia Tech, where there were only a handful of African American students, and then to the University of Richmond Law School, with no African Americans as classmates, no women, and where there were quotas on Greek and Jewish students. However, Irv was raised in a household where any intolerance was not tolerated. So these experiences had a profound impact on him, and they informed how he would get involved and make a difference in the future. Irv joined a litigation firm upon graduation from law school, and he has practiced law in Richmond and throughout Virginia. His practice focused on criminal and domestic cases. When Irv started practicing law, he did so in the same courts as former Humanitarian Award recipient Oliver Hill, from whom he says he learned a great deal about diversity and how to confront racism, and with whom he participated in Black-Jewish dialogues. Irv was brought into community involvement by another past Humanitarian Award recipient, Neil November. And there, Irv thrived, chairing the Community Relations Committee of the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond for 2 terms, serving on the National Jewish Community Relations Advisory Board for 2 terms, and holding numerous other leadership roles in the Jewish community. He also did the same for the legal community, serving as president of the Virginia State Bar and the Virginia Law Foundation, and he has been appointed by 7 different governors of Virginia to numerous boards and commissions. Irv shares for anyone that is hesitating to get more involved that, quote, "Without a doubt, you will receive more from being involved than you will contribute," end quote. The Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities is proud to present a 2021 Humanitarian Award to Irv Blank.
I want to thank the Richmond chapter of the Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities for awarding me the 2021 Humanitarian Award. I congratulate the other honorees, especially Ann Holton, who I have known for many years. In fact, Ann probably doesn't remember this, but when I first started volunteering for legal aid, she was my mentor in landlord-tenant cases. I knew nothing about the subject, and she was the leading expert in eviction and landlord-tenant matters. So I certainly kept a lot of people from being evicted by simply doing whatever Ann suggested that I do. So it is indeed a great honor to share this night with her. Ann epitomizes the standard of humanitarian advocacy set by her father, Governor Linwood Holton, and followed by her husband, my good friend, Senator Tim Kaine. You probably don't know my story, but I am certainly a product of my past. I grew up in Danville, Virginia, graduated from George Washington High School in 1961. I was the only Jewish student in my class. Every school I attended in Danville was segregated, and I knew only one black child growing up. I graduated from Virginia Tech, and while there were a few African American students in attendance, I never knew or even saw any of them. I went to a law school in a class that had no blacks, no women, limited Jews, limited Greeks, and the thought of inclusiveness was not even on the radar screen. I graduated in 1967 and immediately began to practice in the Richmond area. I started my practice in the criminal courts of Richmond and surrounding jurisdictions, and I learned firsthand that inclusive was not part of the process in those days. I joined with others fighting to get juries that looked like our community. We fought for the elimination of race and class-based punishment. We fought for the respect that every citizen, litigant, witness, lawyer, and participant in the process was due. In short, we fought for the rule of law to be equally applied, as is stated, carved into the stone of many of the court buildings in the Commonwealth. Equal justice under the law. My Jewishness led me to devote much of my energies to the survival of Israel, the nation state of the Jewish people, and to protection and expansion of our civil rights for all Americans, especially the Jewish and Black community. I was fortunate to be involved with Oliver Whitehill, a past honoree of this organization and a lawyer that truly made a significant difference in our society. I was greatly influenced by Neil November, who simply would not let me say no to any project that he thought I should become involved in for our community. Neil was also the moving force in my serving almost 15 years as chair of the Community Relations Committee of the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond and the board of directors of the Virginia Holocaust Museum. I am humbled and honored to be included with those who work so hard to eliminate bigotry and prejudice from our society. But tonight, I look at our society and our state, and indeed our country, and I fear that much of the progress I alluded to is being threatened. So tonight, I challenge you individually and collectively to pick up the tools of battle, to increase our efforts to achieve success through inclusion, to speak out against prejudice that stands in the way of the success of our schools, our businesses, and communities. Find that place where we can be most effective and relevant and inclusive of people of all backgrounds. Find that place where people are accepted, respected, and valued for their differences. And as the Reverend Martin Luther King dreamed, let's ensure that we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Thank you again, and please continue your work to make ours a society that we can be proud to turn over to our children and grandchildren and those that follow. Thank you very much.